In this edition of Southern Newsweek, a planned upgrade for the physio pool hits a snag, so it's reopened its doors to the public. A tall ship in the harbour is attracting potential crewmates for a spirited adventure, and homophobia and how it's handled within sport is the focus of a new local study. Kia ora, I'm Holly Buchanan. Dunedin's physiotherapy pool has reopened for the year after renovations were postponed. The pool was meant to close for 3 months over summer, but trustees were unable to get approval for planned upgrades. Now they're waiting to hear if the work can go ahead.
Recovering in the water. Residents are enjoying the city's only therapeutic pool after its month-long closure. The facility was meant to shut for over 3 months for renovations, but that's been halted due to setbacks.
It normally closes at Christmas time for maintenance. This year the plan was to close it and start the upgrade work in January, February, March, but we just didn't have all the matters in place to be able to do that.
The $1 million renovation requires approval from the Southern District Health Board and the Ministry of Health. With departments shutting down over the Christmas break, planned upgrades are at a standstill.
The critical part was the fact that we had to have a lease agreed by the Commissioner and approved by the Ministry, and those matters are still to be carried out.
The pool first opened in 1947 for returning World War II veterans. It hasn't had any major work since, and now the governing trust is looking to fix the roof, window frames and other parts of the facility. Trustees say the pool is an asset to the community, especially those undergoing physiotherapy, so they want to see it maintained.
Well, we hope to have a long-term future here, and it's now in the hands of the SDHB and the powers that be that we can do that.
The Trust will be waiting at least a month for an answer about whether upgrades can occur. Trustees are hoping to have the work completed by the end of the year. Annabelle Dick, 39, Dunedin News.
The local Hepatitis C support centre is facing closure as a result of the government pulling its funding. The centre has lost its $80,000 of annual funding due to Ministry of Health cutbacks, and now staff are the ones seeking support.
Facing the future without funding. The Hepatitis C Resource Centre is facing closure after the government pulled its funding in favour of a new regime.
It's been in the pipeline for probably actually a couple of years. We've been aware that the Ministry has been looking at other ways and means of basically helping Hep C people get a better system going nationwide. But it did come as a bit of a shock. It was without very little notice.
The Ministry of Health has cut the $80,000 it usually gives the Otago Southland branch each year. Instead, it's funding the development of new health plans to target the disease. The local centre helps more than 200 people living with hepatitis C. Staff coordinate with other health networks and services to make life easier for patients.
The centre, I think, provides a lot for very little, so we work directly with the client base. We liaise with gastro departments, so that basically means that we are able to get the Hep C patient directly through to gastro without having to jump through too many hoops.
1 in 100 Kiwis are infected with the disease, and the number is growing. Pharmax recently announced it won't fund a potentially life-saving drug, prompting hepatitis C carriers to go to great lengths to get it themselves. Centre staff want to continue helping people with the virus and see more work done in funding treatments.
I'd like to see it stay open so it can continue providing support. And beyond the centre, I'd love to see Pharmac fund the DAAs so that people may in the future not need the centre. They'll actually get well.
The centre's running under budget, and with savings from previous years, staff are hoping it can stay open for at least another 6 months. They're also looking for alternative funding to ensure local support's available for hepatitis C patients into the future. Annabelle Dick, 39, Dunedin News.
Locals recently had a taste of an ocean adventure program with the arrival of a tall ship in the harbour. The Spirit of Adventure Trust is recruiting teenagers for its program aboard the purpose-built vessel, and it's attracted dozens of potential trainees despite the choppy conditions.
Not enough to dampen spirits. Despite the rain, locals have been flocking to the Spirit of New Zealand tall ship to get a feel for life at sea. The vessel's owned and operated by the Spirit of Adventure Trust, which has opened it to the public following an ocean voyage.
We've just come in from down from Nelson, and we've got an open day on the ship. So we've just got a whole lot of local people wandering through the ship with their children, which is fantastic because they're our future trainees. So they're having a look over the vessel.
16 to 18-year-olds from all over the South Island have been training on the ship over the past 5 months, including several from Dunedin. Up to 40 at a time are taken on 10-day voyages in the aim of building confidence and team skills. Today, young locals have been getting an opportunity to explore the vessel in the hope of one day learning the ropes.
What we try to do is we try to build them as teams and then as a group and then as individuals, their leadership skills, and develop the trainees. We look at them personally and try to get as much as we can out of them. We tell them that they're individuals when they join. We don't know anything about them.
The program's been running in New Zealand for 42 years. It's one of several renowned internationally for teaching sailing and navigation skills. Trainees are also taught to handle situations that require critical thinking and cooperation.
Taking young people away from their comfort zone into a challenging environment like the sea brings out some of the challenges they have to face in life and helps them develop for the future. So it's done worldwide, though we have a program that is probably rated as one of the better ones in the world.
The ship's heading to Bluff in continuation of its South Island leg. Annabelle Dick, 39, Dunedin News.
A first-of-its-kind national environmental monitoring project is being coordinated in Dunedin. It's aimed at better informing the public about the quality of waterways and outdoor recreational areas. And a new phase of the initiative is about to be launched.
Making the most of summer. Water lovers are enjoying the city's recreational areas, including McAndrew Bay. While they're splashing in the sea, staff at the Otago Regional Council are monitoring the water's quality for a major project.
Land, Air, Water Aotearoa is a national project undertaken by the regional councils and 4 unitary councils nationally, and it's about having their data publicly accessible and up to date online for the general public to get access to.
The unique thing about the Lawa service is it's allowing people all over the country to get real-time data on the quality of the environment. People can be finding out about their favourite swimming holes and picnic spots from those sites while surfing the internet on their phones. And it's local staff who are in charge.
It's being coordinated from Dunedin currently, yes, but it's a national project. It involves the regional and unitary councils, Cawthron Institute, Ministry for the Environment and the Tyndall Foundation.
The Lawa concept has been in the making for about 5 years, and in 2014 the website went live. Now staff are working on the next phase, making air quality data available. That's expected to happen in the next few months, delivering more information into the hands of those who want it.
So it doesn't matter whether you're a local community person or a visitor to our towns, you want to recreate in our water qualities, go fishing, swimming, whatever, the information is there instantly available no matter where you are, and it's up to date.
About 3,000 sites around the country are being monitored through the project. That's giving power to the people in deciding where it's safe to swim and enjoy all that the outdoors has to offer. Rosie Mannins, 39, Dunedin News.
A local researcher is preparing to cover new ground in a study about homophobia and sport. The University of Otago senior lecturer is wanting to detail the issue of homophobia in relation to sport throughout the country. And she's hoping her findings will lead to a more even playing field.
Taking an issue out of the closet. This University of Otago academic is using international research to create her own New Zealand-based assessment of sexuality in sport.
What I hope to do with my research is to work with sport organisations to try and help them to help sport organisations be more inclusive to the LGBT community.
She's wanting to build on international research called Out on the Field, which involved surveying queer and straight people's experiences in sport. 680 New Zealanders were surveyed, revealing a high level of perceived homophobia within the sporting environment. No particular community is being targeted in this local study, as Dr. Shaw's aiming for an overarching perspective.
I don't think any sport is a particular target for, or particularly more homophobic or less homophobic. I think it's just a general thing. But the sports that I'm most likely to start with will be the larger sports, because they're more likely to have policies and programs in place around broader diversity issues.
As part of her research, she's planning to approach sports organisations about whether they have sexual diversity policies in place. She says some of the larger agencies are likely to have policies around inclusiveness and diversity in their mandate, but it's the organisations without programs that she wants to assist.
My job here is to try and help sport organisations be better at what they do. And one of the things they do is govern sport. I hope that we can work on making sport more inclusive to lesbian and gay athletes and coaches and officials and administrators, all those other people that make sport happen.
Dr Shaw's hoping to have completed her study by the end of the year. Annabelle Dick, 39, Dunedin News.
Still to come on Southern Newsweek, competitive swimmers take over Moana Pool and city athletes prepare for a big meet with some smaller local events. Welcome back. Young swimmers from all over the South Island have been in Dunedin competing for regional titles. The Otago 13 and over championships recently took place at Moana Pool, where hundreds of competitors are vying for victory, and local talent is proving strong.
Like fish to water, over 100 swimmers are in town competing for top spots in this annual Otago contest.
We have the Otago over 13 swimming champs on today. So they'll run from Wednesday through to Sunday.
The meet's been dominated by young swimmers from throughout Canterbury and Otago. The home contingent comprises 76 athletes, including many who've qualified from Queenstown, Wanaka and across the rest of the region. Dunedin swimmers are also racking up points, despite having just returned from a gruelling training camp.
We've had plenty of people qualify so far, so it's looking pretty good. A lot of the Dunedin swimmers have just come off a 2-week camp in Timaru, so they're having to swim pretty tired, but they're still achieving their times, which is really good to see.
Many of the young competitors will go on to race in larger meets around the country. Swimming Otago staff say events like this are a good stepping stone for those trying to reach the top of their sport.
Well, the swimmers here, they're trying to qualify for sort of national meets later on in the year. So there's New Zealand Opens, which is a Olympic qualifying meet this year. So there'll be some people trying to qualify for that. National age group champs are held in Wellington, so they'll be trying to qualify for that.
This event's running over 5 days. Young athletes are hoping they can make waves and moving towards bigger goals in the future. Annabelle Dick, 39, Dunedin News.
A group of aspiring organists are in the city taking part in a 3-day workshop. They're getting a grasp on the diverse set of skills needed to play the difficult instrument. And it's hoped the Academy will inspire a new generation of musicians.
Learning some fancy footwork. For the first time ever, a biennial Organists Academy is being held in Dunedin. The intensive workshop is helping safeguard the instrument's future.
The purpose is training our younger organists for the next generation or two, the next 30 or 40 years of organists. We've got some really talented young musicians from Australia and across New Zealand here for 3.5 days of intensive training.
Chittenden is working alongside 3 other experienced organists to tutor the 6 participants. The budding organists are keen to learn as much as they can from the gathered experts.
But all of them haven't met before, so it would be good to get some new insights and new perspectives on playing the organ and so playing the same pieces but maybe with a different approach to it.
Throughout the course of the Academy, the musicians are visiting several churches in order to try out different organs. The diversity of locations and instruments is serving as a draw card for one participant.
I started off with the piano as most organists, but ended up getting bored with the piano because for me, the instrument stays the same, the sound's always the same, and it's a bonus for concert pianists because when they go to a piano, they've got the same piano. But it's what I love about the organ so much is that every single organ in the world is different. It's a fallback, but it's a drawback, but it's also one of the best things about the organ is wherever you go, there'll be a different organ waiting for you.
A final public recital is planned for Saturday evening at St Paul's Cathedral. It'll give the young organists a chance to showcase the work they've put in over the past few days. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
Local athletes are gearing up for what is expected to be a very full summer sporting calendar. Several athletics events are being held at the Caledonian Ground over the next couple of months, and that's serving as good preparation for the biggest contest of them all.
It's fairly quiet in the gym now, but soon it'll be bustling with local athletes training for several large-scale events in the city. This year's shaping up to be the busiest yet for athletics in Otago.
We've got the Masters Games starting this week, which is obviously affecting a lot of sports. We then go on to the Otago Champs on the weekend of the 20th and 21st of February. And then we've got the New Zealand Masters Athletics Champs running the following Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so the last weekend of February. And that preludes into the New Zealand Track and Field Champs, which is also incorporating the Olympic and Paralympic trials.
The succession of events culminates at the end of March with the Provincial Championship over Easter weekend. While the athletes themselves are hard at work training, there's plenty of behind-the-scenes work going on as well.
It's not normal for one centre to have all these meets and to host all these meets, so huge requirement on our local organising committees, on the council and also on the officials. It's a big year. Nothing we've experienced before, but you know, we've got a great setup down here, we've got very good officials, we've got great athletes, so they're all ready for it.
Bates believes recent council-led upgrades to the Caledonian Ground have been key in the city securing so many national and international meets. It's not just the grounds looking good though, with local athletes tracking well as the countdown begins to the Rio Olympics.
In Otago here, we're leading the forefront in a lot of the sprints and the para athletes, majority of them are based here, and in the throws as well. So it's very exciting for the sport, it's great for the province, and we're looking for some great results.
The business end of the athletics season means there'll be no rest for the athletes. With so much riding on upcoming events, they're happy to put the work in. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
And just ahead on Southern Newsweek, the work of Robbie Burns is given a modern-day refresh thanks to an annual competition, and thousands attend a gala day which will see thousands more benefit. Welcome back. Local musicians have been putting a modern spin on the work of 18th century poet Robbie Burns. Several bands and solo acts took to the stage last weekend to compete in the 3rd annual Robbie Rocks competition. It was all about breathing new life into old work.
Rocking Out. The work of Scottish poet Robbie Burns has been reimagined as modern songs for the annual Robbie Rocks competition. 14 finalists performed a public concert to coincide with an important date.
The concert celebrates Robbie's birthday, which is the 25th of January. And of course we have Robbie in such a prominent place as a sculpture in our city that it's really good to keep people aware of, I guess, his importance and his place in our city. So it's breathing life into the bard.
It's the 3rd running of the annual competition and organisers are thrilled with the calibre of entrants. But with so much talent on show, it's been a tough job for those tasked with picking a winner.
The judges will be looking for originality when it comes to these age-old poems, and then they're also looking for verve. So they're looking for somebody that does something different with the music, or sorry, with the poems.
It was also an interactive experience with the audience asked to select a People's Choice winner. Entrants were required to choose a Robbie Burns song and reinterpret it for a modern audience. The Partial Fancies rose to the challenge, taking out the open section with their version of A Fond Kiss.
We looked at the shape of it and it really stood out as this thing with these simple chords and minor chords and breaking it up into these 3 parts, and each of those 3 parts kind of has a little bit of a verse, chorus, verse thing going on. It just seemed like quite a natural thing.
The Partial Fancies have already secured another gig, as have the youth section winners, Strangs, Strings and Company. They'll be playing at tonight's Burns dinner at Toitu Otago Settlers Museum. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
Thousands flocked to Mosgiel at the weekend to get a taste of country life. There was plenty on offer at this year's Otago Taieri AMP show, with everything from wood chopping to tractor dancing. And organisers are working on introducing further changes.
Getting up close and personal, attendees of the Otago Taieri AMP show were taking advantage of the balmy weather as they took part in a raft of rural activities. The event's in its 155th year and requires a huge amount of planning.
It sort of pretty much starts sort of the month after the show. We start, 11 months of work goes into it, working what went wrong, what went right, carry on, and then build up to the show. And our secretary Kate, she's here, pretty much lives here for the couple of weeks leading up to the show. So we're a bit lucky, really. She almost lives here.
A new dancing tractors event proved popular with spectators, as did the array of equestrian activities. Organisers say they're constantly adapting the event to showcase the changing trends in the rural sector.
It has grown, but sort of focus has changed a wee bit, like where stock was big many years ago, it's changed a wee bit now. We like to try and bring what happens in the rural sector too, so town people come and have a look, is what we want. We want town people to come out and enjoy, get a bit of a hands-on, looking at stuff.
Smale's happy with the attendance this year and seeing so many people enjoy everything on offer. Now he's looking to the future of not only the event but the society itself and how members can grow their ranks.
We want more committee members, we want more people, younger people, to come in and offer something. So if anyone's out there that I can offer something to that AMP society, more than welcome to come on out. And we want just people to come and help us out. We're all getting older. And, so no, that's the future, onwards and upwards, hopefully,
With a bigger and better show on the cards, organisers are looking forward to next year's country highlights. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
A vast collection of Otago's motoring memorabilia is on display at the Hocken Library. The exhibition features hundreds of items, including photographs dating back more than 100 years. And it's well timed, with hordes of car enthusiasts in the city for an associated festival.
An insight into the city's motoring past. The Hocken Library's We Drove Here exhibition is delving into the culture and heritage of driving in Otago.
I didn't want it to be a sort of a car enthusiasts exhibition necessarily, which would be all about cars, and I actually wanted it to be about life and, people meeting and, going out and perhaps being bad and, that whole sort of, idea of a car as basically being a freedom device. That was the sort of story that we were interested in.
Finlay spent about 2 months piecing the exhibition together with help from Hocken staff. He's a self-described car enthusiast and enjoyed the research, especially with others coming out of the woodwork to share their knowledge.
My interest is sort of general as part of being a sort of cultural historian, but people know in absolutely amazing detail down to the individual owners of cars and who had this between 1955 and 1962, and I just go, look, I don't know any of that, so it's a pleasure working with people who have that sort of detailed knowledge.
Several collectors and organisations are loaning photographs, artwork and vehicles to the exhibition. They're being displayed alongside the Hocken's own items. It's a timely event coinciding with an international motoring festival in the city.
The timing was exquisite, really. It suited us as well because we could develop it towards the end of the academic year and things are a bit quieter. But to coincide with a major international heritage car festival was great.
The public exhibition will be open for viewing in the Hocken Gallery for several more weeks. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
And finally, a significant chunk of money has been raised by local charities and community groups during the annual Brighton Gala Day. The event attracted about 11,000 people to the Brighton Domain recently, and thousands more are set to benefit from the event.
Making the most of free family fun. Thousands of people flocked to Brighton yesterday for the beachside community's 20th annual Gala Day. It was a chance for Dunedin residents and visitors to revel in some summertime action.
And it's a community-wide event for the city that we provide entertainment, activities and 200 stalls, people to come and have a free day out.
Almost 200 stalls were set up offering food and refreshments as well as local crafts and household knickknacks. But the gala was also an opportunity for fundraising, with dozens of community groups and charities taking donations from those attending.
And my guess, $150,000 is raised by community groups.
There was plenty for the kids with dirt bike demos and amusement rides. Local musicians and a magician spent time entertaining crowds. For the adults, some competitors showed their muscle, and a few new attractions were also proving popular.
The Aero Club's flowing in, got a couple of light planes down there, vintage fire, classic cars, Red Cross and John's. A whole group of people come out, community services come out and support us, and obviously led by Brighton Fire Brigade, so it's great.
Dozens of volunteers spent hundreds of hours preparing for the show and working on the day. Organisers are thanking Brighton residents for putting up with the traffic and chaos associated with the event.
A pain in the butt if you own a house out here and the people park across the driveway. But as we say, it's only one day in 365, so we ask for great tolerance from the community to help us. But at the end of the day, it's a fun, busy place, and it's something that we as a group put back into Brighton to say that it's a good place to be, and come visit us.
Now it's a case of planning next year's 21st Gala and praying for sunshine. Rosie Mannins, 39, Dunedin News.
And that's all for this edition of Southern Newsweek. Have a look at our website, dunedintv.co.nz, where you can download Southern Newsweek and watch individual clips of 39 Dunedin News or webcast the show. I'm Holly Buchanan. Thanks for watching.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.